Everyone, I just gotta do my usual stuff here right at the start. Make sure this is facing me. Good. All right, grab the link. Posts. All right, there it is. All right. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another live stream here. We're now at the end of week 7 on Big Brother 27. And admittedly, it is like gonna be a bit of a slower week compared to this past week here. Last week was kind of crazy by the end of it, made for a pretty fun stream. But I feel like this week definitely a bit more straightforward, where it does seem like Kelly is the main target. She goes home under any scenario. If she wins the Blockbuster, then Catherine will be going out. Now, there was some talk about how things go shifted around. I know Morgan in particular talked a bit about keeping Kelly around over Catherine. I know even someone like Lauren talked about possibly taking out Ava. However, it does seem like a lot of that talk has died down from what I have seen, and it does seem at this point that we are on track for a pretty straightforward evening here. Again, Kelly's primary target, and Catherine is the backup here. And it does seem like a pretty lopsided vote in either scenario. Hey Will, glad you could join us here. Yeah, it is looking like Ava is the safest on the block here. Which, to be fair, it's not the first time this season where I said someone was the safest, only for them to go out. However, for this week at least, it does seem like that is the case here, where I feel like there hasn't been any real push to flip the vote. It does seem like a lot of it seems to be pretty committed onto these people here. Um, Also, I have not seen what tonight's blockbuster is, so okay, all right. I don't know if I should play this, but I can at least like show it when it's paused. So, um, yeah. I don't know. I should probably move it here so that I can manipulate it. All right, let's just see what it is. I'm not gonna play it. I'm just going to. Okay, so it looks like it involves a ball and a paddle. Okay, okay, so it's just kind of like a puzzle. Okay, so it looks like you're just like. Okay, so you're just like making a puzzle here. How do you stop it from like falling in? So like you're trying to get it through like through the hole, but like I guess it can't touch. Um, yeah, okay. Either way, it's like some sort of puzzle, like nothing too crazy here. Yep. I'm guessing you just have to like move these like things to move the ball along, but like there's like certain rules. I don't know. In any event, that again, I assume if I'm assuming because it's a puzzle component, it should favor Kelly because Kelly loves puzzles. In case you didn't know, but we'll see what happens here. I do think in general, like this week was kind of crazy. Like I feel like the main event was probably like the lead up to the veto meeting, where for a lot of Sunday it seemed like we are being set up for a Rachel boot, with Rachel seeming to be like a likely target. It did seem like for a bit that Rachel was going to sabotage her own chances of survival by leaking, by telling like Keanu about a conversation she had with Vince about Keanu targeting her. Hey Gargan, glad you could join us here. That was really a lot of the intrigue and a lot of it, though obviously we saw Rachel be able to kind of save herself by the end of it by talking to Vince literally shortly before the veto meeting, where she ended up convincing Vince to leave her off the block here. Aside from that, the actual episode yesterday was pretty good. Like, I feel like the veto comp was pretty fun, with it being kind of like a social deduction game, kind of. But I feel like there's a lot of like funny moments during it as well. Like the fact that a lot of people were like giving themselves the poison to try to trick. They were trying to trick the other person to switching, but then they didn't switch, so then they had to like take a life basically. I found that pretty funny. I mean, Kelly, like seeing Kelly getting like dodo content as well was pretty funny as well. Also, the over the top reactions when everyone dies and they just lay on the ground instead of just go to the sit out bench when they're eliminated. It was a good competition. Like, I feel like it was a funny comedy of errors that resulted in Mickey winning, which was Vince's worst case scenario, and obviously led to a lot of the intrigue leading up to the veto meeting. But at this point, with the nominees set, it does seem like again it's gonna be a straightforward evening. I'm not expecting like the same fireworks as we got last week, but to be honest, like I'm kind of glad because I don't know. I was kind of busy last weekend, like when a lot of like the early stuff was happening, and it's like I kind of needed a break. So I'm glad we had a bit more of a straightforward week here. In terms of where things are going moving forward, like it is funny seeing how my power ranking this week is almost completely different than what it was on the previous week, where the person I had number one this week, that being Morgan, was towards the bottom last week. And I would have said that Morgan was someone who had a very good shot of going home. And even coming into the eviction, coming into this last stream, I would have thought that Morgan had a somewhat sizable chance of going home here. But yet, she has gone from that being almost at the door to being probably in the best position in the house at this point. Because at this point, she's part of the judges, which does seem to be the core power structure at this point. Now, I don't think their stranglehold, I don't think their hold on the game is entirely secure, because I do think they do struggle a bit in competition ability, where I feel like the people outside that alliance are better in competitions, where you have Keanu, who has won some blockbusters, you have Vito's, I guess. Lauren seems to be pretty competent as well in competitions. Even Mickey, who is technically not part of the judges. I mean, she's no slouch either. So I do feel like the better competitors are outside of the judges alliance, and I think that could present some intrigue in the future. I think it'll also make it more difficult for the judges to like steamroll in the same way that others have. And at the same time, you have people like Vince, who is technically playing the middle, but he's also playing it kind of poorly, with him like kind of being indecisive here. And it's sort of funny how Vince like ends up getting a second HOH here and kind of squandering it again. Now, I don't think he squandered it as poorly as he did his first HOH, where he just blatantly put up one of his own allies. But I do think this week just further compounded upon issues I had with Vince before, where I feel like one of Vince's biggest issues is just he just doesn't push. And to be fair, that's an issue that a lot of people in this house have, where I feel like outside of Rachel and Morgan, I feel like not many people are doing much to push their agenda to do what they want to have happen. We've seen this happen with Vince before, where again in week one he did put up Kelly, who at that time was one of his closest allies. We saw him in week three wanting to keep Adrian around until he backed down from that. You saw him obviously not really fight much to avoid the whole Zach situation. No, though to be fair, like he did throw Zach under the bus, so maybe that's not big of a knock. But then you have this week where again he just waffles, like he goes back and forth, and while it did make for interesting feeds, seeing him going back and forth, I think it also like is indicative of who Vince is as a player, and I think this week has really contributed to the idea that Vince is probably not as big of a jury threat as he seemed at first, where despite him being in a good position and despite him arguably being one of the better players in the house, I feel like he is kind of sullying his own reputation in the house by him like blaming others for the moves that were being made. You have him talking about being tricked, you have him really being indecisive, which is funny considering that he was previously accused of controlling Lauren's HOH, where you think that would have given him some credibility, but then he just goes around and says that he was tricked. And he also is someone who is blaming others. He gets really whiny when he doesn't get his way. And I think at this point, those things are going to make it difficult for him to win a jury vote. Though at the same time, I think he also benefits from other people like not inherently having the most win equity in the world. So I do feel like there was quite a bit to come out of from this week. I already talked about some of the stuff in my power ranking. Who do you think will win AFP? My guess is Rachel or Ava. I don't know who will win AFP. I mean, you obviously have Rachel. I mean, I don't know. Like I feel I don't know. I don't know how much in love a lot of casuals are with Rachel, because even though she's still like a great character and stuff like that, even though she's still like a great character, and even though she's like a big force on the season, I feel like I've interacted with like certain people who I know who watch the show who don't follow the live feeds, and a lot of them aren't that big of Rachel fans. Like a lot of them just see Rachel as like kind of the mastermind, like, and they're kind of annoyed that she's still there. Though again, that's just the people I've interacted with. I don't know like what the broader casual consensus is, but I don't know. I don't know if Rachel will win AFP. I mean, maybe if she gets to the very end or something, or if she like goes on a run, then she could. But aside from her, it's like I would have said Riley, but I feel like the fact that Riley went up pre-jury, I think the fact that the news about his misdeeds have become so widespread, like even more so than Cameron from BB 25. Like I feel like the fact that he's a pre-juror, and also the fact that like the casuals like know more about his baggage, like probably makes it so that he won't win at this point. So probably not him. I don't I don't know about Ava though, because I feel like Ava is like not the biggest character in the world. I mean, she's had her moments on the show, but I feel like she's probably not like as like notable of a character. So you have them. I don't think they're gonna vote for Vince. I think I would assume a lot of the casuals find Vince annoying. I mean, Will's kind of there, Kelly's there, Catherine's there. Maybe they vote for Keanu. I don't know what the consensus is on Keanu, but I assume they would like Keanu. I think the show has presented Keanu pretty well, so I think it probably would be Keanu at this point, unless things change. But I that's probably the answer if I had to guess. Dead ass praying Kelly wins Blockbuster. That would be interesting. It would be interesting in terms of it like not being the most straightforward outcome. Though at the same time, it's like I don't know how much more we're gonna get out of Kelly, because yeah, she had like a fun moment this week with like the whole like hug gate, wine gate situation with Rachel, but beyond that, it's like I feel like we've gotten what we're gonna get out of Kelly. It's like she's someone who was fun for a little bit. It was fun seeing her like doing silly things like volunteering for the block and her thinking she's Tucker, but it's like I feel like I'd be fine with Kelly going at this point. Obviously, her like winning the blockbuster would be a little bit interesting because then it will result in Catherine going home, which I mean, Catherine's not really doing much for the show either at this point. But again, like I'm not dead set on Kelly winning. Hoping they reveal next week is a double, but I doubt it. I don't think they're doing a double because no, because if they're doing jury, if they're starting jury at 9, then like it wouldn't make sense to do a double next week, because you know like after, because that would mean the first boot of the double would be 10, which is a pre-juror, which is I don't think is something they would want to do. Like it's kind of like a weird way of presenting it. Though they have done it before. I mean, I don't know. I would love to see a Mickey HOH, to be honest, next week. I mean, it'd be good to see her go on another power trip. Like, see her, like, once again think she's in control of the house and everything. I mean, that'd be something. I find poor gameplay entertaining sometimes from Kelly and Keanu. I mean, I feel like the whole, like, debate over, like, whether, like, bad gameplay correlates with entertainment, like, I don't know if I fully subscribe to that because yes, on one hand, like I think in certain situations, like bad gameplay, people who like casting people who don't know what they're doing, like I think it can work out sometimes. Like obviously we're seeing it happen this season where it's like it does lead to people making pretty wild moves, pretty suboptimal moves, obviously, and it does make for like interesting discussion. But I think I can also see like the other side of it where like I feel like it can also be frustrating at times where you have like someone who is like the one good player on the cast like not really gaining much traction or they're not really being seen like for what they are by the other players. Either that or people who don't know what they're doing or they don't care about the game because they're not invested like I think it's not necessarily like people who don't know what they're doing. I think it's like, do they care? Like, and I think like the biggest downside that you could have when you like go in this direction of casting like people who don't know what they're doing is that you risk casting people who don't care. And if they don't care, they're not going to make moves and they're not going to be receptive to good game arguments or they're not going to be receptive to change their course because they don't care. So like I think it can go either way. Like, I don't think it's like a 1-to-1 correlation, but I do think for this season at least it has kind of worked out. Makes it good and bad is better than all good or all bad. Yeah, I think I think I'm good with that. Like, I think that's definitely a good balance. Like, you have like enough bad players to where it's like they can be a wild card, but enough good players to where they're like a bit more like receptive and not gonna make like really frustrating mistakes. 3 years season will be forgotten. Possibly. I do think the season like kind of suffers from like not really having like a major character. Like I would expect as time goes by that BB26 would have a bigger legacy than the season. Now, some of that I think is due to the fact that we are about to get an Amazing Race where you have Tucker and Rubina like that are going to be on it. Who else from BB26 is on there? I need to look up the Amazing Race cast again. Was there anyone? Is there anyone else on? Oh, Angela's on there as well. I forgot about Angela. Yeah. So it's Angela. Yeah. Oh wow, it's a lot of people. Angela, Chelsea, uh, Rabina, and Tucker. I do think like again, like I feel like as time goes by, like again, Angela. People are gonna remember Angela. They're gonna remember Tucker. I mean, heck, you have on this season Kelly wanted to emulate Tucker essentially. I do think that's gonna really help BB26's legacy, and I think it'll also like cause it to overshadow this season. Where I don't think the season's bad per se, but I feel like the fact that it is coming right after BB26, and I think the fact that BB26 has like bigger characters and debatably bigger moments. I mean, I feel like the Riley eviction. You have the Zach eviction and like the Riley eviction, but like I feel like people are gonna like remember like Angela's like kitchen speech. They're gonna remember like I guess Cedric getting blindsided. They're gonna remember like Chemo saving himself with his speech. Like so, I think there's some merit to that. But we are now a little under 5 minutes from the start of the show. Very exciting stuff before us here. I'm gonna get myself situated. All right. I'm gonna turn on. I think Jeopardy's on right now. That's what they're having on Thursday nights before Big Brother, right? You got Cedric on the challenge. Yeah, I think that also helps. I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see like how many of these people go on to do like the challenge and other shows. I mean, because like I can see like Keanu like doing other stuff after this. I can see like Lauren or Morgan. I don't know about Morgan, but you can pick like one of like Morgan, Lauren, Ashley. I don't know, but Ashley probably not Catherine either. I can see like a couple people like doing like stuff like that, but like I feel like it's not gonna be as many as like Big Brother or BB26. Who do you think would do the best on the challenge? Probably Keanu. That's my assumption at least, though. Again, I haven't really watched the challenge. I'm not familiar with all the challenges that they do, but I'd say probably Keanu's probably like the best male for the challenge, and probably Morgan. I don't know. Probably Morgan's the best. Probably Morgan or Kelly would be the best like female competitor. Let's get Riley on the challenge. Oh yeah, like I'm just dying to see Riley again. Lauren would get scooped up by Johnny Bananas in a heartbeat on the challenge. I fear. Yeah, I can definitely see it. Like I feel like Lauren's someone who is probably gonna latch on to like some big player. Anyway, we are now getting to the show here. It's now 8 o'clock. And it's starting on my end. What are your predictions for Amazing Race 38? So I know I think there are spoilers out there for the season, but again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers for like all these shows and stuff. But I think just looking at the board, I mean, let me just take one more look at the cast. I think when I first saw the cast, my initial thought was like Kyland and Taylor would do pretty well. I mean, because obviously they're both Big Brother players, both of them were good competitors. Where we saw Kylan like win plenty of comps. I think he was also on the challenge. And then obviously we saw Taylor like do alright in competitions on her season. And we also saw her like do decently on reindeer games as well. So I assume like Ride the Ballet they do well. I think beyond that you have Jag, and Jazz. I think I'm also looking at them. Obviously Jag because I assume he would do. I feel like I assume he'd do pretty well in Amazing Race. Obviously you have Enzo and Jack though. Enzo's like getting a bit older. Like he's 47 now. I didn't realize he was that old. Uh, I don't know. I think Jag and Jazz like they could like make it deep, but I feel like they're also like kind of like one dimensional. I think it will come down to like how well Jazz is at like the less physical tasks. I think that would help a lot. And you have Tucker and Eric. I assume Eric's like of a similar like build to Tucker, but I feel like just looking at the board, I would assume like Kylan and Taylor will be the most well-rounded team because I feel like even with like the teams I would assume would do well, like Jag and Jazz or Tucker and Eric, I feel like I would assume that like Tucker and Jag's partners would be pretty similar skill set wise, so I don't know how much they really complement each other. Whereas I feel like, and then same thing with Joseph and Adam. I don't know. Like I feel like it comes down to how well like they round each other out. Prom Queen gotta go. Is story starting this week or next week? I'm assuming it's gonna start after next week. So can't start next week because it'd be Final 10, but probably could start at Final 9. Enzo and Jack are probably getting last. I can see them flaming out. Angela and Lexi are gonna be the team that gets like rewind. I guess I mean U-turned a lot. I don't know. I mean, how big of a threat are they really? All right, Tucker got out of Fun 11, so I feel like Kelly will botch the blockbuster like Tucker. Yeah, that would be pretty poetic. All right, finishing up the recap now, getting right into the show. Good evening. I'm Julie Chen Moonves. What are these puns Julie's making? But first, all right, we're now getting to the main show along with the post veto stuff you would expect. Yeah, I wonder who it was, Keanu. Yep, Keanu. Yeah, Keanu, it seems like Vince has burned you a lot. I mean, you might think it's time to reconsider. Maybe. Rip Vince's mustache. Yeah, that's a pretty good DR. That's weird. I mean, I feel like you and Keanu get along, Kelly. It seems like Vince keeps burning you. Anyway, moving on. Got Vince and Rachel talking. Maybe. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you do. You seem like an idiot for keeping Rachel around, so you decide to back out of it after telling a lot of people you were gonna put him up. So I hope for Keanu HOH next. It would be fun. It'd be interesting to see like if he like goes for Rachel. We we got Keanu now stirring the pot about. He's pretty upset about Vince, his old buddy, his old chum. Maybe. That's very unfortunate, Lauren. That's a very tough pickle you're in. I thought Vince had your thought Vince had your back. Remember the time when you used a veto on him? All right, so yeah, Vince talking about Kelly not being a jury vote for him. All right, now we got Rachel being very mad at Keanu. Maybe we got Rachel not wanting to talk to Keanu. That's not very nice. Maybe. All right, now we got Keanu and Vince talking. Is it gonna be the? Is it gonna be Keanu motivating Vince now? Oh, here we go. All right. This is so funny. I guess, yeah, that's exactly the takeaway, Keanu. Yeah, just give him another chance after he's burned you, like, what, 10 times? Vince is honestly a crybaby, pretty much. Rachel enters. All right, probably getting commercial now. All right. All right, we're currently commercial here. Now it's my cue to start updating games and stuff. So first we have the pool. Let's see what everyone went with here. So I know I picked Mickey this week. This is the okay. What is this commercial? All right, so Mickey. He's went with Mickey. All right, Q-Boy place holds Morgan. Morgan place holds Mickey. Ella picks Morgan. Let's see, Morgan. Morgan. Vince. Mickey. Keeping Mickey. Okay, Jay picks Rachel. Vince. Then I pick Mickey. 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 All right, so nobody's at risk this week because everyone picked either Mickey, Morgan, Vince, or Rachel here. So that's pretty secure. And then you have the polls. Oh yeah, I should have closed the polls. I need to close them because I set them up this morning. Gotta close them real fast. Anyway, we're back from commercial now. Probably gonna see some of the campaigns, probably from Morgan to try to flip the vote onto Catherine here. Here we go. Now we're having Morgan doing some of the pitches. And we're starting to see the push now to take out Catherine. That is not really going to go through. We have Ashley seeming to consider it, even though I believe she was one of the more people that was like fervently against it. Vince is had no idea of Anderson Fiber is that small. Yeah, from what we've seen, she did seem kind of small. Oh, yeah, that's we don't really talk that much about the 49 cast so far, but it's looking decent. I do like the the photos that they've done for this season. Like I like how they like went with like a different like photographer. I heard it's some interesting, pretty good looking like images. Really pretty nice to use. I wonder what it'll look like for 50, like seeing like all of them like with that style. But anyway, we're getting more of this semi campaigning. Anyway, we just saw the convo of Morgan talking about taking out Ava in front of. No, it was Ashley talking about potentially taking out of Ava right in front of Ava, which is not ideal. Maybe it's a little sloppy over there. Anyway, looks like we're getting Lauren and Vince now talking. Hmm, that seems like it could have been avoided. Do we know? No, it has not happened yet. Anyway, getting another scene now with Rachel, Catherine, and Ashley. We have Catherine trying to campaign to Rachel here. Hmm, someday you'll see. Maybe. Anyway, we're now getting to commercial, where we're gonna get set up to the Blockbuster. We got a sense of what it was. It does seem like it's some sort of like puzzle, which look out if you're not Kelly. Anyway, I should probably update some of the polls. So, what do we got here? We have Vince winning H. No one picked Vince for HOH, which is interesting. Who we nominated? You have Ava. Oh no, it all fit in one poll. That's very convenient. We have Ava. Mickey. No, Kelly. I should do Kelly next. No. Kelly. Two people voted for Kelly. It's Mono and Wisp. And then everyone else picked Mickey, including myself. Scaris. Found me. Too early. Daniel. Ordinary. Will. Ace. Jay Lee. Maeve. Gargan. Blue. Fairfinks. Alright. Anyone not vote for those people? Yep. That should be 20 beeps. Yep. Who will win veto? No one picked Mickey. Placement nom. Well, Steven, Wisp. Argan, Blue. Zerfinks. Okay, we're good. Anyway, we're right in time for the Blockbuster here. I'm just going to minimize the chat. Anyway, Julie is just doing her narration here. About to get into the Blockbuster. I'm guessing you have to just use the white pieces. Oh, Julie's about to explain it. Okay, so you're just like making like a Rube Goldberg machine essentially. Not Rube Goldberg machine. You're just like, so it's essentially just a puzzle. So, which Kelly loves puzzles. All right. All right, we are now off to the races. All right, all of them are using the same piece for the first level here. They're moving on to their second level. We Ava using the middle row. Kelly also using the middle row here. Makes sense. We see Kelly now playing in the first piece. Again, no deviation so far. We have Catherine having a fourth piece down. Catherine has the lead right now with the most amount of pieces, though obviously it's a question of whether it'll work or not. Catherine is getting ready to do her attempt here. Question is whether she got it right. Her ball's now rolling. Not much you can really do here. Kelly has also dropped her ball, but it's a bit behind Catherine's. So, oh, Catherine has made a mistake here. Kelly's ball is still rolling. And it may not matter because... what can I say? Kelly loves puzzles. She loves puzzles. Anyway, they're just hugging. But yeah, if you're just joining us, Kelly has just won the Blockbuster. It was a puzzle. She got it on her first try. I'm just going to update the poll while we're at it here. Ordinary. Okay, so that's 6 votes. And I might as well also fill in the Catherine eviction because essentially that's what's going to happen here. Catherine's about to be evicted here. Doesn't seem like there's much of a push to take out Ava at this point. There was a little bit of talk, but I'm not expecting it to go through by the end of it. But yeah, we just had some double dips. People who went in on people who just went in on Kelly to win the Blockbuster are probably also going to get a double up with Catherine being the boot here. Let me see the chat here now. Yep. Yeah, it is looking like Catherine is gone at this point. Yep, Catherine's cooked. Crazy Showmance went up at the back. Just pray that this day ends with a Keanu or Kelly HOH for my mental health. We'll see. Depends on if it's another puzzle or not. We have to pray that Keanu, Kelly, Lauren win HOH by the end of tonight. Well, we're probably not getting it on the actual show. Or we're talking about the whole game. I think a Keanu one would be pretty funny. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't necessarily believe it's gonna be a steamroll because, as I said before, I do think the better competitors are outside of Rachel's Alliance. I do think that could benefit the people who are not in the core right now. Kelly for HOH. I don't know. Like, it'd be funny. I don't know. Would it be funny? Like, I think the idea sounds funny, but it's like, would you actually like do anything interesting with it? I don't know. There's still a commercial here. Really, a lot of it comes down to what the vote margin is, which. What is the vote margin? I had it down somewhere, what the vote count is. I mainly looked at the scenarios that have Kelly in it, but we can like briefly talk about like what Catherine and Ava looks like here. Yeah, so is it just Keanu that votes for Ava in this scenario? Because you have Lauren, who is, I guess, kind of close to Catherine. I mean, she did vote with Catherine last week. And then you have Kelly. Like Kelly seems fine with Catherine. I mean, I think there could be like 3 votes for Ava in this scenario, but all the judges are voting for Catherine here, right? I don't expect them to vote out Ava here. Who do I want to win the game? I don't know. It's like I think Keanu would be funny, but it's like I feel like it would also be kind of frustrating seeing the path there. Beyond that, it's like you have Rachel, who's like the best player overall, but I don't think she's like the most likely to win either. Beyond that, it's like I don't think there's anyone who like I'm that excited about the idea of them winning. Need Lauren to turn up the heat. She has been very present to the fact that Rachel doesn't like her. Yeah, I mean, it'd be fun to see Lauren go on a run. Anyway, we are now back from commercial here. Do you guys think there are any good player in the game? Probably Rachel's probably the best overall player. I think everyone else is like very flawed for different reasons. But anyway, Julie's now announcing the results of the comp here. How low would Kelly have been had she gone out this week? Pretty low, because she's pretty much been on the outs the entire time. Like she's definitely like below a decent amount of like earlier boots. But Julie's now announcing the results here. Should be pretty straightforward deliberation here. All right, announces the result. Cut to Keanu. Cut to Lauren. Anyway, we see Kelly just hugging everyone here. It's really what most of the camera work is on. Catherine's not doing much. Really, we're just focused on Kelly. Not much game talk is happening here. Yeah, it seems like a pretty open and shut case from what we're seeing. Yep, everyone just sat down. No talking. And we are now getting right into the eviction speeches here. Let's see what else is in the chat. All right, Catherine's going first. Yeah, Catherine seems pretty resigned to her fate. Yeah, she definitely sounds deflated at this point. All right, now we're getting Ava's speech. What do you think the current house dynamic is? Again, you got the judges who seem to be the most coordinated side. You know, like you have the judges there in Ashley, Morgan, Will, Rachel. You have Vince kind of playing the middle, and then you have like Ava is like kind of like a subsidiary. Ava kind of Mickey is a subsidiary to the judges, but not really part of it. And then you just have like Keanu, Lauren, and Kelly on the outs. That's really what the dynamic is like at this point. But anyway, we're now getting straight into the vote here. Ava's speech was kind of whatever. Right. All right, Mickey's first. Funny how they're making her go first again. She was first last week. Anyway, I should be able for Catherine here. Maybe. All right, go for Catherine. Keanu up next. Could be a vote for Ava here. He seems more amenable to that than others. All right, nope, he's not going for it. Should be a pretty straightforward vote from this point. All right, going straight to commercial here. Yeah, yeah, he decided to vote for Catherine here. I'm assuming it's gonna be again, again, again. Then maybe there's like a slight world where like Kelly throws like a sympathy vote or something. Maybe Lauren, but it's like, yeah, it is shaping up to be a unanimous or near unanimous vote here. Anyway, we are now commercial. So yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy so far. Maybe Lauren will give her a vote. I don't know. I mean, again, it would purely be as a sympathy vote, but I think the fact that Keanu didn't vote for Catherine to stay is probably like not a great sign there. But I never know. It's like again, there was like no campaigning. Like, yeah, it should be pretty open and shut case here. But yeah, not too much to talk about. Is there anything you all want to talk about? I mean, we can talk a bit about like what will happen like next week while we're at commercial. So, what are the judges doing next? I mean, I assume like I would assume that like Lauren is in a good amount of danger next week. You obviously have Kelly there as well. I think Lauren and Kelly are in quite a bit of danger next week. Assuming someone from like the judges like wins HOH. I mean, it seems like a pretty obvious pick there. I mean, maybe like Rachel could push for like Keanu at this. I don't know. It's like, is she gonna actively push for Keanu? Because even though like Keanu's like burned her over and over again, like I don't think like Rachel necessarily needs to target Keanu immediately. But again, like those people are all on the outs. Like I think there's definitely a chance there. Feel bad if Catherine is leaving right after Riley and is soon to find out how hated Riley is. I don't know. It's like I think it's probably for the best, honestly. Like, because like I did like kind of debate. I kind of debated like whether like be like a good or a bad thing if Catherine like left pre-jury, considering the Riley of it all. Like for her own, like mental health and her own safety and stuff like that. I don't know. I think I've come around to like it being fine. Like if Catherine goes at this point because like she clearly like still like has like feelings for Riley, and I still don't think her or a lot of people in the house like fully like have picked up on how like weird and possessive Riley was in the house. Like because like everyone in the house like loves Riley. Like they still like Riley. Like the people that voted out Riley last week, like they weren't voting him out because like they hated him or they cared about Catherine. It was because they saw him as a big threat. And I think Zach also put out a tweet as well where he said that like, yeah, it's like I had no idea. Like he was talking about how he had no idea like just how hated Riley was in the house. Like the assumption was that like he was like a fan favorite and everything. So it's like so yeah, I do think Catherine's gonna be in for like I do think like coming out of the house, like it'll definitely give Catherine a chance to like reflect on like that aspect to it. Like she'll probably see what happens. Obviously, like she'll get to like reconnect with her mom. Like her mom was like very concerned about the Riley relationship there. I think her being away from people who don't like see the full picture with Riley. Like, I think they'll definitely like, give Catherine a chance to like decompress, like give her a chance to like fully reflect on everything, and probably like realize it's like yeah, like I was in a pretty bad situation. Is it true Riley got jumped? I haven't heard that. Did that happen? Part of me was hoping for Catherine to kick it up after Riley's one-sided. Yeah, I do feel like there was that potential there, but it didn't really amount to much. We are back from commercial, by the way, and Lauren is now in the DR. Again, question is, will anyone give Catherine a sympathy vote here? I was on Jimmy's stream. All right, Lauren does throw a sympathy vote towards Catherine here. All right, we got Kelly up next. Not unanimous. Yep, we do have a sympathy vote here. All right, Kelly's a vote for Catherine here, and it's looking like we are about to get a 7-1 vote here. But Will is up next. Should be a vote for Catherine. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Don't need all these shout outs. Rachel up next. Should be obvious. This is exactly what happened when name was voted out. Which means Lauren will have to bounce back in 2 weeks. Not sure. I think Lauren's in quite a bit of danger next week, as I just said, because again, she's like losing like she is losing like I guess like losing Catherine isn't as bad as losing Kelly. By the way, the fifth vote sealed it. Rachel's vote sealed it. Anyway, we have Ashley up next. Again, like I feel like losing Kelly would have been worse for Lauren, but she's still in a bad spot here. It's like she really was in a lose-lose situation this week, with Catherine and Kelly both on the block here. We have Ashley very enthusiastically voting for Catherine once again. And then finally we got Morgan. All right, 7-1. Easy game. All right. Now I'm just gonna update the games. I already did Catherine Boot. Now I just need to update the vote count question, which I got. Most people got near unanimous. Anyway, Julie's now announcing the results. Yep, she seems not shocked at all. Julie just announced it. Everyone's saying their goodbyes. Blueberry. Daniel. Ordinary. Will. Gargan. Dave. It's 18 votes here. Lauren's the last to say goodbye. The one person that voted to keep her. Okay, we can update the score now. Interesting results in the poll for this week. Okay, snip snap. Anyway, Catherine just walked out the door. Yeah, Lauren's by far the most emotional. It looks like Ava's like pretty upset at Lauren for voting against her. She's like, I think she just said, "Don't apologize to me," which is kind of funny. I just updated the poll. Think Will has his game in the bag. I think Will's set up well to make it deep. I think the question is he gonna like get to the end? Because like at first, like my concern was like his win equity because like you assume like archetype wise, like Will seems like the type of person who is likable, but it seems like kind of passive and like that makes it harder for him to garner respect. I think more recently, more of the discussion has been about like whether people will even take him to the end because like I think at first I assumed okay people will just take him to the end, but like they'll just beat him because like he seems more passive. But I think more discussion has been about like oh he'll just have too much win equity and like it'll be easy to take him to 3 in a spot to where like he can't win final HOH. Like he'll be taken out that way. So I do think on multiple fronts like it's not looking great for Will to like actually win, but I think in terms of like his longevity, like he's in a pretty good spot right now, and it's like no one's targeting him. Like he is in the majority. Like I do think like longevity, short term, he's like doing pretty well here. So anyway, I need to update more of the games. No one's out of the pool. Okay, and then we just update the nope, didn't mean to do that. And then we just update the draft. I think people pick Catherine. Okay, so Catherine's 11th. Also, no indication about the jury starting tonight. So it looks like it will be starting at 9. Yep. Okay. 38. Yep. Okay. Snip, snip. So Steve, we're getting another commercial for Amazing Race Big Brother edition. All right, back from commercial. We're gonna get into this exit interview now. Wondering what she'll ask about Riley, if anything. All right. Yep. Catherine says Lauren was the one person to not evict her. Makes sense. Yep. She thought she could get Kelly and Keanu as the other two votes. Thoughts on Catherine's game? Not great. I mean, she was in a pretty bad spot early on where she was talked about as a potential target here. All right, so now she's telling Catherine about the judges. Um. Oh yeah, I think Will could like articulate his game well. It's just a question of like whether people like see like through that or not. Catherine's only the second woman to lead the season. That is a pretty wild stat. I mean, that's crazy. Most of the boots so far have been men. Anyway, she's now asking about Riley. Interesting. Yeah, she still feels very strongly about Riley, and I think a lot of that is a byproduct of like the environment that she was in. Like again, like no one really like pushed back against Riley at any point. I mean, heck, even Rachel was like promoting the showman. Anyway, she's getting goodbye messages this week, which is interesting. Twitter's clearly overblown the relate. I think it's the opposite. Like Twitter was like wasn't Twitter like super critical of it? Like I mean, again, the people who follow the live feeds like hated like Catherine and Riley together. It's like because like I think they just saw like how toxic Riley was. And if anything, it's the show. It's the show that was like trying to like gloss over all that. Yeah, it's like again, like I think I think it was pretty apparent that like Catherine like was into him, but it's like the problem was like Riley was just not really respecting her boundaries, and she didn't really have much of a chance to like get any space. Like, and I think there were just a lot of things that like pushed nudged her in the direction of like liking Riley. Though I would expect it to like fade as she like has some distance from here. But okay, I guess Angela is gonna be hosting the veto comp. All right, so she's saying, yeah, so she's alluding to jury starting at 9. Anyway, so I'm so distracted here. of one another. All right, that was an episode. Anyway, I need to respond to chat here because I am so distracted right now. Um, Kelly Neva staying definitely makes for a more interesting season. I can't say again. Like I think I'm kind of mixed on Kelly because it's like, yeah, it's like she can like offer like good stuff here and there, but it's like really, it's like I think I'm just kind of like I feel like I can't really see like how much more she can really give. Like I feel like had she gone tonight, I would have been fine. Find a weird in my true contender video. I chose all three men left in the house. Yeah. I mean, I think I think Will like is looking fine. Like Vince is just Vince is Vince, I guess, and Keanu is Keanu. Anyway, oh yeah, I was talking about Catherine. Not great. I feel like Catherine's game as a whole is pretty mediocre for the most part. Really gets carried through the game by Riley for a lot of it, like mainly due to her association with Riley, where it's like she was like on the bottom initially, was talked about very much as a target in the like first couple weeks. Reason she's not targeted was due to people being scared of Riley, so really, it's more so Riley's like effect on people that like caused people to be scared about putting up Catherine here. But still, she was talked about as a target. Like, was really only in a good spot due to her connection to Riley. But even then, like, had they gone towards the end, Riley would have inherently had more respect there. Even then, doesn't get her way in the Riley round where it's like she fought hard to have the veto not used, but Riley kind of undercut her there by wanting the veto to be used, much to his detriment. And yeah, like she was the secondary target for this week, but she was already in a bad spot anyway. Doesn't really fight. Doesn't really do much campaigning herself to avoid the veto being used. When she could have done that. And yeah, it's like I feel like there's like not much good with Catherine's game. I probably would still have like probably still have Riley and possibly Zach above him on the player above her on the player ranking. So not looking great. Hope for an interesting HOH. Of course, as always. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks like we're doing another jury at 9. So that's something at least. But yeah, I mean, not as exciting as last week. Obviously, last week was kind of insane, and I was just kind of like over the moon with the rally eviction. This week is a bit more standard, even though it wasn't entirely the number one projected outcome. Rally and Zach could be above Cat in the player ranking. I'd probably agree with that. Yeah, I think yeah I think like thinking about it more like it does make sense because I was gonna say like Catherine's like her position wasn't great, but doesn't have the same low as like Zach not using his power or Riley pushing for the veto to be used. But I still think they were in better positions compared to Catherine. So there's that. When the season's not steamroll, again like I don't think it's inherently like said to be a steamroll. Like obviously you do have this majority alliance right now. However, I still think there are some cracks within it. I think Vince is like someone who has connections outside the alliance. You have Keanu, Kelly, who are competent competitors. Even Lauren's like not slouch either. I think there's definitely potential for someone to like break this up along the way. But for the most part, like I feel fine about the season so far. Kazim Martino going to block for the first 4 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Ineffective. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm saying with Catherine. So again, don't think her game was particularly great, but I'd say she's probably like third on the boot ranking so far. I think that's at least something to give her. But yeah, it's not great on the whole. Any other thoughts at this current point? Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say at this current point. I feel like right now, like again, like I think if we are projecting forward to next week, I do think the likes of Kelly, Lauren, probably in the most danger. Obviously, Keanu could also be in danger. Mickey, Mickey could also be in danger, but like I feel like she's not as big of a priority anymore. I feel like there's bigger fish to fry. So I think there's that. Rachel could obviously be a target if she gets a bad O2H result. I don't think. I think Ashley's safe. No, Ashley could be put up alongside Rachel. That's true. I think Ava's kind of safe, but like she could be used as a pawn. Will should be safe. Morgan should be safe. So yeah, I think like looking at the targets for next week, I think Lauren's in a lot of danger next week. Kelly's also in a good amount of danger. Keanu, Mickey could be in danger. Rachel also in danger. So again, I do think there's like a number of different outcomes that you could get from this week, depending on the HOH result. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I got. Do any of y'all have any other things you want to chat about? Again, it was another pretty fun stream. Obviously, I'll be back again next week. Got another week of AU versus the world. Didn't really talk much about that tonight, but again, I feel like that's been a pretty good season. Like, probably gonna make at least one more video about that. Well, at least two more videos at least. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't know. Do I want to do a jury scenarios video for AU? I don't know. It's a short enough season to where I feel like it's not really worth it. But you know, obviously a player ranking after the season. But yeah, man, I'm gonna be back again next week. It was fun watching the eviction with y'all. Be back again next week around the same time. And until next time, see ya.